Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Alex Beyond Thoughts podcast with me, your host, Alex. Again, I feel like I start every episode with this, but it's been a minute and not much has changed, quite frankly. But I thought today's episode would be about the things I'm working on right now. And those things happen to be my goals. And I thought midway through the year, I've blinked and it's already nearly the end of June. I was just complaining about how it's already the start of June, like 3 minutes ago, I feel like. And now it is pretty much the end of June. So, time just seems to be disappearing from me this year. And that is both a good and a bad thing because it means I'm closer to some of the things I want to achieve, but it also means I have less time to try and achieve all of them. Okay, let's just go straight in to the bulk of the episode, which is my goals right now and how I'm arranging my life to make them work. So, this is something I definitely talk about multiple times throughout the podcast. In previous episodes, and like definitely going to be in future episodes too. But it's essentially just finding my goals, sticking to them. That is the crux of this whole shenanigan. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. So, my three goals for the year, the main three goals. There are many subsets, however, these are the overarching ones. These are the ones that the lifeblood of the year. These are the ones that if I don't meet these goals this year, I would feel like my year hasn't been as successful as I'd hoped it to be. So, goal number one, get fit and healthier. This is an all-encompassing goal. This is through business, through personal life, through my career progression. This is just like fit and healthy as much as possible throughout the year of 2025. And I won't lie, up until now, I feel like I've been slacking, mainly because of injuries. I have been in and out of the gym intermittently when I can, when it's possible for me with these injuries. But main goal is to rehab both of them by the end of the year, be in some kind of good form, and just generally feel healthier. One thing I've definitely noticed off the back of 2024 with like the slight burnout, with the rebrand of my business and things like that, I was just pushed so hard last year with many different things. And the start of this year, to be honest, just like the fallout of all of it. My health wasn't a priority. I definitely didn't prioritize as much as I should, in conjunction with those injuries. And I just feel unhealthy right now. And that is not a life place that I want to operate from. It is not an energetic capacity I want to operate from. It is not the way I want to conduct business. And it is not the way I wish to lead my life. So, one of my massive goals and probably the priority goal this year, above all else, is get fit and get healthier. That doesn't necessarily mean aesthetically, although that would be wonderful because I'm not too happy in that area right now either. But it is mainly focused on not feeling the bulk of pain that I've been in with these injuries, not feeling the tiredness I've been feeling, partly related to my fitness, partly related to like stress and things like that. So, like, healthier in that sense. I always pretty fairly eat in terms of healthy levels. Like, I'm not a super processed food eater. I'm not a big sweet things. Unless it's a pastry, like a pan of chocolate, it's gonna get it. You know what I mean? A pan of chocolate is gonna get it. However, I don't eat bags of sweets. I don't eat a bunch of chocolate. Like a bag of minstrels will probably last me 2 weeks, and that is being generous. So it's mainly, and I gotta give it to them. The carbs are gonna get me every time. Me and bread go together like bread and butter, honestly. That is pretty accurate. And it's not any like a conversation of cutting out things or anything like that because I do not believe in restrictive eating whatsoever. I think that leads me specifically down a path of just, yeah, not no return, that's very dramatic, but like down a path of discomfort and unhappiness that I just don't ever want to encourage myself to go down. So, in terms of eating healthier, it's basically prioritizing nutrition and balance in trying to fill my plate with color, things like that. So, that is the health goal for the year. And really, without your health, your life is not that great anyway. Anyone that is listening to this will know that as soon as you catch a cold, you're like, oh my God, all I wanted is to just feel healthier again. I just want to feel better again. And even towards chronic pain, towards like chronic illnesses and things like that, it's just something that is prevalent in my family tree. And I don't want to invite it to my life any sooner than it might be genetically possible. So, fit and healthy is the goal, and that's the overarching goal. Without health, my life is very, very different looking. So, health is a priority right now. The second goal is making money. So, making money for my next travel plans. This is, again, an all-encompassing goal. This goes through my personal life, it goes through my business, it goes through sort of career and things like that, everything I've got going on in terms of making money and building a life that sustains money-making habits. That's pretty all-encompassing. So it's a very big goal. Um, I am very orientated around the quality of life I can supply myself whilst I'm traveling rather than a set financial goal. So, if the plan for a trip is to budget and backpack and skimp and save and enjoy as many things for as long as possible, that will be the financial goal. If it is that I want a 1 month trip, all expenses, like don't even think, just below the budget kind of thing, that is what I'll work towards. So just prioritizing the habits needed to make money for my next travel plans, that is something that makes me happy. When I see that number going up, I'm getting closer to the goal of putting money aside for a travel trip, that makes my soul happy. I love traveling. I love working towards traveling. I love planning it. I love all of it. So, making money for that is a massive goal this year for my 2025 trip. And the third one, both business and personal related, is 50 books this year. Now, I've never actually hit 50 books that I know of in a single year, and I can't lie, I'm slacking. I'm quite fearful of the fact that I've only got as many books as I've got right now. But I do know from past trends that the majority of my reads come in the autumn and winter. So, although I'm slightly terrified about how I'm going to hit 50 books, it doesn't mean I'm any less excited to do it. And I know I will. And I know that because it's one of my goals, it's something I actively work towards and I make time for. So it's definitely going to happen. I am just a little bit behind right now. With all the change and things that happened at the start of this year, it was just one of those things where the books had to take a back seat. But again, they are one of the three big goals for me this year, at least the ones I want to talk about on on the internet. And yeah, the 50 books of the year is something that is both related to business and personal because I love reading in my personal time. However, it's also, I have a booktube channel. I want to start book talk and things like that. So I need to read books in order to do all of those things for business too. And it's just a very wholesome part of my life that I love to share online. I love to talk in book club with my best friends. I love to like rate books and review books. I like to book journal and I like to make videos about books basically. So that is only possible when I read my books. So when I hit 50 books for this year, I will know I've done everything possible this year to enjoy myself in this area as well as make some good content in this area. So I want to really break down how I think about implementing them. So there's some key points here. The first one being that where I need to change my daily schedule to make sure I'm hitting at least something within these goals. That's not an English sentence. Hold on. Let me re-rack my brain. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's in the macro action that brings, nope, that still wasn't English. It's the micro action that brings the macro change. So I look at my daily schedule and see where I can hit each of these things to move the goalpost forward even a little bit. So if it's that I'm looking at my week and I know that I'm only going to get 3 solid gym sessions in, then I will make sure I fit those into my week. If it means that I have to deprioritize something else, that has to be the call that gets made. If it means that I have to get up 45 minutes earlier to hit a goal for that day, that means that needs to be done. So, micro actions like waking up half an hour earlier to make sure I get 30 minutes of reading in, or if I know that I'm going to want to read that night, I set my alarm for a little bit later and maybe change my gym slot to a different day or change my gym slot to a different part of the day. Then I can stay in bed in the morning and read a bit more, have a slow morning, and that's where I can get all of those goals in. It looks like reviewing where I'm spending my time and also importantly where I'm losing time doing tasks, doing things that do not forward these goals. So, namely, scrolling. One of the big things I did for myself in 2024 and has continued into 2025 is reducing my screen time massively. I have screen times on for my most consumed apps, so TikTok and Instagram. YouTube is probably also one of my most consumed apps, but I have yet to limit that. Discussion for another time. However, I have a 30-minute, no, I think it's a 40-minute timer on TikTok a day. I try not to ever see the fact that I'm timed out for the day. So I will do my best to like ration myself with scrolling so that I never see like, oh, you've run out of time for today. So I have a 30 or 35-minute screen time in the app. And then I get 5 extra minutes if I'm really like watching something that's super interesting or something and I need that extra 5 minutes, then it's when my iPhone tells me that I need to come off. And I never really hit it for Instagram. It's very rare that I will ever see it on Instagram. It's more when I'm working and I've got a couple hours of like posts and editing in the app. That's when I hit my Instagram limits. But I think my Instagram is set to like an hour and a half of a day. Again, due to like the posting frequency, the amount of time I spend in app, like editing videos and things like that. So that is my screen time, and that helps me reduce the amount of time that I'm losing in a day that can't go towards one of my goals. And if it's time that is not going towards one of those three big goals, it is time that I can't really afford to be losing. Now, this is where the sacrifice conversation comes in because would it be fun to potentially scroll TikTok for 2 hours a night and have none of my goals reached? Probably. It would be quite fun in the moment. However, I don't want to look back on the previous 6 months and say, oh, I haven't done a singular thing to forward myself towards my goal. So that is somewhere that I deeply think about each week and make sure I'm implementing so that I reach my goals. So that's kind of micro action that leads to macro change. And that is also what needs to leave my schedule so that I can make sure I'm hitting my goals. And then, sort of like a mindset question slash like self-care question is what do I need to do to support myself with achieving these? What do I need to do to add an extra prep step or stop something or start something? And how can I plan in advance to make it so easy for myself? It would be silly not to hit these goals. Like, what do I need to do to support myself with achieving these? And asking myself that on a regular basis helps me highlight where it is I'm going sideways in structuring my days, in planning my weeks, in losing time for this thing and not getting enough time for this thing. Asking myself how I can support myself with these is so, so good for my mind. It makes me feel supported, even if it's just by my own mind. And it helps me highlight areas where I can do something different in order to hit these goals. Like it just has to be so easy because if I have even a singular step of resistance in this, it is enough to deter me. And I feel like that's probably true for a lot of people. It can be that your gym clothes are inaccessible. They are in two cupboards and it takes you 5 extra minutes to get to them. It could be that your skincare routine is 4 steps too long and it just deters you from doing it at all. It can be that your fridge is laid out in a strange way and it confuses you every time you have to try and make your dinner. So you end up ordering out. It really doesn't have to be big. It also doesn't have to be small. It can be that you literally have no funds to access the gym that you want to go to, etc., etc. Like What can you do to support yourself so that it's so easy that you would laugh at yourself for trying to avoid doing it? And it just makes it that much nicer when you complete the goal because you didn't have 10 steps of resistance and so much challenge and discomfort trying to hit the goal. So make it as easy for yourself as possible. Support yourself as much as you need to. If that looks like using Sheen bags to pre-pack your gym clothes for the week and then chucking them in the wash like after you use them, sure, do that. If it looks like prepping your lunch 4 days out of the week and treating yourself on a Friday when you have to go into the office, do that. Like whatever it is that's going to help support you achieve these goals, make those changes and watch the goals come to you that much quicker. The final one of like the breakdown about how I implement these goals is the question, is it important enough to me that I will stick to this goal? This is particularly when you're setting these goals, and goals can be set any time of the week, any time of the month, any time of the year. So if it's a new goal that you've got going on, is this goal important enough that you will stick to it? If it's not enough, if it's not important enough to me, I just don't waste my time. If I know that, yes, at some point in my life, I really want to be fluent in Spanish, but it is not important enough to me right now to stick to the goal of studying, I'm not going to waste my own time. I'm not going to spend the year pretending that I'm going to do something towards working towards this goal if I already know it's not important enough that I will stick to it. If I can't keep up my Duolingo streak, if I can't even order myself a textbook off Amazon, if I can't even listen to a free YouTube video about learning Spanish, this goal is not important enough to me, so I'm not going to waste my own time. And that's okay because next year that goal might be really important. I might achieve some things this year and go, you know what, that goal is really important. I want to take that on this year. And it gets to be that you delay the goal. If it's not important enough now, don't waste your own time and mental agony trying to make it now. So that's a great question I ask myself. Is it important enough that I will stick to it? And if it's not, I will not waste my time. So the secondary discussion to this, you've made the goals, you're trying to stick to them. What is the discussion I have with myself when I want to do the counterproductive things? Here are some questions that I ask myself, and I would encourage you to ask yourself these, either write them down, journal on them, chat to them in your voice note app, have a discussion with yourself. What would I gain by not hitting the goals today? And is it worth the trade-off? So, am I going to gain extra time back to do something more important? Is it that I'm going to gain 20 minutes of enjoyment, but 4 hours of mental agony because I've not done the thing I said I was going to do and now I feel rubbish about it? Is it worth the trade-off? Is the extra hour in bed worth the trade-off of spending your whole day at work thinking, God, I should have gone to the gym. I'd feel so much better for it right now. And I hate the fact that I have to go at 5 p.m. Is it worth the trade-off? And if it is, and you know that, okay, I actually need the break from work today, I'm going to take this Monday off and I'm going to feel better for it in my week, that is worth the trade-off. If I'm not hitting this goal today, is it worth what I'm going to feel, think, and do following this decision? The next question I ask myself is, how will this set me back? And will I be okay with this same decision being repeated tomorrow or for the rest of the week? So if it's that I'm actually sick, I'm sick as a dog in bed, will this set me back on my goal for reading? No, because I can stay in bed and read and still be sick. Will it set me back on my making money goal? Here and there, like it might make a little bit of a difference, but probably not too much. Will it impact my get fit and healthier? Actually, no, this is going to be beneficial for me trying to get fit and healthier because I'm taking care of my health first. Will I be okay with the same decision being repeated tomorrow or for the rest of the week? If it comes to it and I'm sick, yes, I'm happy to stay in bed tomorrow. I'm happy to stay in bed for the rest of the week so that I can get better faster. If it is that I am going to skip my work session so that I can watch a movie that isn't really that important, but will give me the dopamine in the moment, would I be okay with doing that again tomorrow? Probably not, because I'm definitely going to be set back by that. Probably not for the rest of the week either, because again, I'm going to be set back by that. So I want to do this counterproductive thing. Is it going to set me back? And if I have to repeat this again and again, how much is this detracting from my goal? And is it worth doing it now, tomorrow, next week, or at all? And have that discussion with myself. And finally, kind of like, can I limit the time spent doing the counterproductive thing if I really need or want to do it? So, if it is that I really, really want to spend 2 hours watching Twilight, eating some popcorn, and switching off my brain, is it that I need to watch the whole movie? And don't get me wrong, the answer is always yes to Twilight. But can I get into the vibes for 20 minutes, relax, soak it in, the vampire gloriousness, and actually go back to my day after that? Do I just need a little hit of something, a little hit of dopamine, a little hit of comfort, relaxation, whatever? And then can I just limit the time doing that and go do something else more productive or focus towards my goals after? And then where can I afford to replace time doing the goal in my week, if not now? So if it's that I wake up at 5 a.m. For my gym session and I'm just too tired and I know it's going to disrupt my whole day if I don't get the extra sleep now. Okay, quick think, where can I replace this time to have that gym session in my week, if not now? And if the answer is I can't replace this time, this is pretty invaluable, it's then that question again, is it worth the trade-off? Do I skip a day and not have it like have that time replaced? Is it worth the trade off of that? And is it worth the trade off of if I don't do this now, the mental anguish or the mental peace or the mental calm that will come from the decision later? So if I can't afford to replace this time somewhere else, is the trade off worth it? So I don't want to keep you here too long. This is pretty much the mental game that I have to play with myself to get my goals met. And I would love to say that it gets easier. However, we are humans and we are designed to despise change. So I don't know that it ever will. I think you build patterns and you build more resilience to the resistance, and the resistance gets much, much less. You get a lot less friction with the resistance, but I don't think it ever goes away. There isn't many times that I wake up at 5 a.m. for a gym session and think, hell yeah, let's go. 90% of the time, I'm thinking, okay, can I replace this somewhere else in my week and go back to sleep right now? Usually the answer is no. And therefore, I have to get up and do it anyway. And I always feel better pretty much for it. But it is a game, it is a mental game. And it's one of those things where you just get better at playing the game. You get better at tricking yourself into doing things, and you get happier with the decisions you make because of it until it becomes a craving, until hitting these goals and doing these things in your week becomes exciting to you. It will be tough. And I don't want to sugarcoat that. I want to kind of honor that and say, yes, this period of your time building these habits, building these goals will be tough. But as soon as you start to see some kind of forward momentum, it becomes much more difficult to find good reasons to stop, which makes all of it so much easier. So that is all I have for this episode. Find your main three goals right now, break down how you want to begin implementing them with those steps of thinking about the ways that you can implement them, support yourself, ask yourself the question of, is this important enough to me? And am I going to even stick to it? And if not, just let it go right now. And then reminding yourself of this discussion to have when you want to do counterproductive things. And I would love to hear what your goals are for right now, what your goals are for the rest of the year, how you're thinking of implementing these steps, what you are telling yourself when you want to do counterproductive things. If you have any different ideas for things that definitely work for you or definitely don't work, we would all love to hear them. So definitely post a comment, especially if you're on Spotify, post a comment on this episode and let us know. Everyone can have a quick look. Hopefully get some support for yourselves. But yeah, I love you guys. I will see you in the next episode of the Alex Beyond Thoughts podcast. Bye, guys.